to the Get Your Shift Together Men's Podcast with your host, Dr. MyRon Edmonds.
What's going on?
What's up? What's up, everybody? How y'all feeling?
Good, man. Good. What's going on, DJ Walk? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good, man. Another good week, man. The family's good. Kids is good. I'm blessed.
All right. I see you in Ohio.
For sure.
MyRon, what's going on, man? MyRon.
Yo, man, it's a great day in Cleveland. Got the All-Star game coming here this weekend. DJ Walk is one of the he's one of the featured artists for one of the big events this weekend here. Cleveland, man, listen, they caused a mistake on the lake, but we here, man. We here. Cleveland is representing strong, man.
Cleveland. All right. Listen, so we know Cleveland is here. We know Tampa is here. Those of you watching this live on Facebook right now, just drop in the comments where you watching this so we can shout out your city, shout you out, give you some love as we get started in this podcast today.
MyRon.
Yo.
I like the glasses, man. You look very intellectual today, brother.
Yeah, I know, right?
The subject matter calls for a an erudite approach to this. Man.
Hey, you look very intellectual, man.
Just preparing for the subject matter, my brother.
Rolled up beanie the whole nine, man.
By the way, man, I was thinking about last week's conversation. We were talking about fatherhood, and man, you got me going to look up Ray West, man.
Hey.
Kanye daddy, man, and then the documentary dropped this week, man. And I watched that thing last night. I just want to say to everybody watching, if you heard the podcast last week, that documentary, whatever you feel about Kanye, I just want you to know that documentary, man, that thing touched me, man.
Amazing.
Thing touch me, bro.
Not gonna get off on a Kanye bandwagon right now because I did that last week. But what I will say is, it just comes to true the phrase "money does not change you; it just brings to life who you really are." And that's if you've seen that podcast, that brother been like this, man.
Yeah, that's true. The documentary brought that out. Yes, that's facts. Yes, sir.
Man, what's the name of the documentary? Where do y'all watch it? For some of us who don't even know what you're talking about.
Netflix.
Genius. Yeah, it's called Genius, but it's spelled in a weird way. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. We got some brothers here. Some people saying where they're from. Dallas
in the house.
Dallas, Georgia, right outside Atlanta. I didn't know there's a place called Dallas, Georgia. Pembroke Pines, Mississippi, Nassau, Bahamas. What's going on, brothers? And those who are watching this podcast, listen, some of you are inside of the Facebook group for the podcast. Some of you are not. And you do want to join the group because at some point we'll only be streaming to the group. All right. I'm excited about today's show, MyRon. I'm excited, DJ Walk, about what we're talking about today.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is a controversial subject, even though I think it's probably more socially acceptable right now. I think in the subculture of African-American community, Black men, asking the question whether, therapy is overrated. If you really got some brothers in the barbershop, I'm not talking about on Facebook where you got to be politically correct, but I'm talking about if you talk to my uncles and, if you talk to some brothers on the side, underneath the hood of a car, you would hear varied perspectives on this subject. And honestly, that's the environment that I want to approach this subject today. Just really man to man. Let's talk about this thing.
All right. Listen, for those of you watching this, listening to this, make sure you subscribe on YouTube to the podcast. Make sure you go to the youtube.com/itsmyron live. Make sure you subscribe because these episodes come down from Facebook after 24 hours. So make sure you're over there. And good news is this week we're on Apple Podcasts.
Hey.
So we're leveling up a little bit. If you want to just listen to the podcast, they'll be over there.
We need some sound effects, man. Some horn.
Yeah, we do. That's next. Hey, we got you the DJ, bro. We got to get you that. There's a device for that, but I know Lance J, our sports guy. He probably got 3 or 4 of them in his office somewhere. As he told us before the show. The guy, he just collects technology. But we have to establish some rules first. Let's establish some rules, and about this podcast. And I just wanted to be clear. We need to know our roles here, right? You know, you look at every great team, Kymone and DJ Walk, you know, everybody had a role, you know, and teams that struggle, people didn't know their role. I know my role, you know, and I know DJ Walk's role. Now we need to call out and specify what Kymone's role is. So everybody is watching. Kymone was not here last week. He had some other matters that he had to attend to, but he is with us for the long haul. He is really not just the host, but he is the de facto. He is the de facto police on this podcast. His role is to make sure that the goals and the aims and aspirations and the mission of this podcast are fulfilled.
Stay in line.
Listen, I need to
my role.
Get canceled. That's my job.
I'm just saying my role is to just be me. And we know DJ Walks.
Listen, I am the hood advocate. Okay? That's what I am. I am the RNA, the real ninja advocate. That's why I'm here to represent for all my real ones out there. Because Myron's going to try to be all doctor. I'm going to just come with the real straight facts, man.
All right.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, I'm going to play my role. I'll make sure we all stay in line. Run our routes. Y'all what you doing over there.
Hey, Kymone, we need to get DJ Walk to do the disc assessment. For those y'all don't know, you know, we need to find. I'm very curious to know what he, you know, where he falls on the disc. You've done disc assessment, haven't you, DJ Walk?
I done something called the pace palette, where like a color goes with your attitude and you know how you handle situations.
Oh, what color are you? I'm curious. What color are you?
I'm red, man. I'm a red.
Man.
I'm a red.
He's a red. That means he's a D.
Yeah, that's the dominant. Come on, man. That's
good, my Lord.
Risk taker, you know, just loves to get in there, man. Fly by the seat of my pants sometimes, but still analytical on what I do. So, you know.
So I'm not surprised at all by that. I mean, as I watch the way you run your house, you know, he's the heavy.
Lord.
Oh man, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be great.
I'm hearing an echo, so maybe if I
take these headphones. I think you're good. I heard it before, but it looks like it's gone now, so that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, how about if I take the headphones off? You think that help?
Nah, I think that's helping you. You sound good.
All right, cool.
I never heard.
Let's rock and roll.
All right. Yeah. So listen, what's up next, Myron? We got to bring on everybody's favorite sports analyst.
This guy, man.
Yeah, I'll tell you, last week, man, this brother, he shocked me. I'm always expecting him to say something crazy, but I have to admit that as of late, he's been on point, and I'm really hoping today that he will give me some ammunition for something that I can call him out on. But nevertheless, there he is, James Lewis, better known as Lance J, Paragon 7 Studios.
Lance J, what's good with you, bro?
Hey, what's going on, gentlemen? Always a pleasure.
Fix that.
Always a pleasure to be with you guys, man. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Hey, Myron, I don't have a hot take for you today, man. I actually wanted to be serious because it's Black History Month.
Okay.
I've been watching, and I implore all of your listeners to watch. Ken Burns has this documentary on Muhammad Ali that came out last winter on Netflix. They've been streaming it on PBS, and it's a fantastic. It's the equivalent of The Last Dance. It's like a 4-part. Each part is 2.5 hours, so it's a total of close to 10 hours. But I watched the whole documentary over the weekend, and it was worth every minute, like 9 straight hours. It chronicles Muhammad Ali, and really it's Black History Month. So talking about Muhammad Ali, who's the most iconic athlete that, in my opinion, the country has ever produced. It chronicles all the way from him beating Liston to his battles with Joe Frazier to his battles ultimately with Parkinson's. And I wanted to highlight a couple of things that I learned in the documentary that I didn't know about Muhammad Ali, who's really my childhood hero. A lot of people don't know that, you know, we talk about Muhammad Ali. By the time he fought Larry Holmes, by the time he was late in his career, he already was showing signs of Parkinson's. He was slowing down physically. Really, after the Thriller in Manila, when him and Joe Frazier went 15 rounds, his health was completely shot. His kidneys were shot. His body was shot. A lot of people, I didn't know this, he kept fighting in many ways to raise money for the Nation of Islam. And I thought that that was very, very interesting. And what I also thought was interesting, you know, you talk about so much, MyRon, about family and surrounding yourself with the right people. In many ways, the Nation of Islam kind of exploited Muhammad Ali, much to his detriment, that ultimately put him in a downward health cycle. And, you know, just that was one of the things that I pulled from it. It talked about Muhammad Ali. It made him human. I thought that Ken Burns did a great job. They didn't just praise him for his greatness in the ring and the fact that he was a 3-time world heavyweight champion. They talked about his issues with being a womanizer. They talked about how he was basically a polygamist at one point, married to multiple women. They talked about the good and the bad. They talked about how this guy would literally be in Louisville and he would see someone who was impoverished and he would take off his shoes and give them to that person. So it was just a very interesting documentary. And the last thing, before you chide me about my lack of sensitivity for Anthony Davis and his penchant for getting injured pretty much every time he touches the floor, what really stuck out to me, Muhammad Ali was the greatest. He was brash. Some people thought he was arrogant. He made a living on being loud. He loved people. He was the ultimate extrovert. He loved the attention. He loved the adulation. Many ways, people said that he continued to fight past his prime, not only to support the NOI, but for the adulation. He loved when he was in fighting, and they were cheering in Africa, saying Ali Boumaye. He loved that, but to see his slip into dementia and into Parkinson's, it really shows from a spiritual level that none of us are exempt from sin and the results of sin. Who would think that Muhammad Ali, the greatest, could be reduced to what he was later on in his life? And he had a health slippage in his 40s. It's not like he was reduced to this at 65, 70. By the time he was 45, he was completely wiped out. Most of us are in our mid-40s or approaching our mid-40s. So it was very interesting that he made a career on not always being perceived as humble, but he was humbled by his health and he was humbled by his situations later on in life. So it's a great documentary. It's produced by Ken Burns. It's long, but they chronicle everything. And I just, for Black History Month, the fathers out there, watch this with your son. Watch this with your daughter, because his daughters talk about him, and it's just a fantastic documentary. So I wanted to share that.
Wow.
You know, you just have a way of taking the rug from under my feet, man. I had my dukes up, as it were, but you've totally brought them down. Yeah, you know, I think my first reaction when I listen to this, fellas, is, man, I have this theory, and my theory is proportionate to the level of your giftedness, your it factor, whatever that it factor is. We talked about Kanye last week, and we're talking about his documentary that came out. I feel like everybody's it has a proportionate struggle. Like, I mean, I've not seen it to where somebody is super talented, gifted, a savant in an area, and they don't. And if they don't, it's probably because it's well hidden, right? But I think everybody, you know, just because you're strong in one area doesn't mean you're strong in every area.
Absolutely. And the last take I have, you talked about it offline, MyRon. You know, we look at athletes and these people that they're just here to entertain us. And I remember the section where they were going over the third Ali Frazier fight, which boxing matches were 15 rounds back then. You imagine wailing on heavyweight 220-pound people, wailing on each other for 15 rounds. And Ali said that he basically almost died after the Thriller in Manila. Like, he was in the hospital for 3 weeks. He was urinating blood for 3 weeks. And we see these gladiators that go out and entertain, but we don't always think about what happens to them after it. And you've talked about humanizing people, and I just think that it's a great parallel with the things you talk about. We really have to look at all of these people, whether it's LeBron, whether it's Kanye, the people that entertain us, Jay-Z, Beyonce. These are human beings, and they deal with human being stuff.
Wow. How about you, fellas? You got any thoughts? DJ, Walk, Hinds?
I gotta watch that documentary.
Yeah.
15 rounds heavyweights, man. That's crazy. And I could just see, man, like just see the decline that it took on his body. So yeah, he just came from that height and just is humbled now. So it's very hard to watch, but it's encouraging knowing what he did for our people during this month, man. You know, definitely want to highlight that.
Yeah,
definitely. It'd be the equivalent of LeBron James walking away from the NBA because of the war reason, and he wouldn't accept the draft. So I mean, it's just for someone of that status to be stripped of their title, to be stripped of all of their money, the level of respect, you know, it's just bigger than sports with him, and that's why I recommend once again, Ken Burns, PBS. Go to pbs.com and stream it. All of the episodes are up.
Yeah, those of you who are over here watching it, if you have any thoughts, or if you've watched it already, just drop your comments there. We'd love to highlight it. You know, it just kind of highlights, I think, when you're in a public eye, you want to put on the hero face, like you want to put on your strength. But it's even as you tell this story, it doesn't make Ali any less in my mind in what you just said. It just makes him more relatable. And I think sometimes it's okay for us to let people see, you know, the human side of us, not the hero side.
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that, Kymone. That's one of the things, that line about human and hero. I think I started gaining more respect for my father when he was no longer the hero and he became human. I used to put my father on a pedestal. And of course, seeing his human side initially was jolting. But man, as I began to mature, man, I had more respect for him. You know, it's interesting. I just want to point this out real quick before we move on. But Hinds, you and I both, we went to, you know, we were working on our master's degree. We went to the same school in Michigan. And I was disappointed because when I got there, it's a little place called Berrien Springs, just outside of South Bend, Indiana. But a lot of the guys that went ahead of me to that same program you and I in, when we were studying for our Master's of Divinity, man, they said that they often would pass by Muhammad Ali's house. Yeah. And I've had at least 2 or 3 friends of mine who have been invited in his home by Ali. Ali would see these guys and he would be like, come on in.
Yeah.
They spent time with him. I mean, everything that Lance J is saying about him in terms of his personality and his extrovertness and his hospitality is true. I know multiple guys who have been to his home.
Yeah, I met him. It's funny. I almost forgot that I met him. I was at a 7-Eleven. It's funny. How did I forget this? I was at a 7-Eleven. My wife and I were recently married. We walk in and I just see Muhammad Ali. And I was like, you know, it's one of those things where you don't have good words. You don't have like, okay, I'm going to be very eloquent. I just went, it's the champ. And that dude says to my wife, is that your husband, right? He kind of just says to her. And he goes, I'll fight you for him. Like, I'll fight you for her. And that was it. That was our interaction. Had a great sense of humor.
Hey, you know, well, maybe it was humorous based on what Lance J is saying about the documentary. Perhaps he really meant what he said. Yeah. And honestly, you know what? If I were to put my money on either one of you guys, if I had to put my money on Hinds or put my money on Ali at that moment, I want you to know, Hinds, I'm putting my money on you, brother. I'm putting my money on you, man. I think you could have took him out. You know.
Love it. Love it.
All right, Jay.
All right, man. See you next week.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Man, how about I almost forgot that story in the middle of what he was saying. That's funny.
Bro, that's a legendary story. You should tell that story on the mountaintops, man.
All the time, man. It's a great story.
Yeah.
Man. And you can put a little sauce on that story too. You know, like you can really yeah. And he flinched, right? Hey, listen, man. You know, I'm excited, Hinds, because we are, you know, going into our second installment, man, of the Men's Breakthrough Challenge.
Oh, yeah.
And hey, Jay, man, you need to be in that Men's Breakthrough Challenge. Matter of fact, you need to be in this one that's coming up on February the 21st through February 23rd. But honestly, we have it every month, every third week of the month. We roundabout something like that. But anyway, the idea, Kymone and Jay, was to create a short space where guys can get the tools they need to implement breakthrough in their own lives. Because we have discovered that breakthrough is really a set of behaviors. It's a system. It's a lifestyle that you can live that will really position you to experience breakthrough. And that's just in any area of your life, money, relationships, all that type of stuff. So I'm really excited about it. You need to do it, and they need to do VIP. We did a thing last night, and all the guys that were on there, they did VIP. We had the interaction, the community, and they were like, man, don't even waste your time. I don't even know why we have the regular, because some people need to do the regular, right? But the VIP, honestly, is where it is, because there's community there, there's engagement, and you get the content. What you think, Mike?
The challenge is just like, the word potential. A lot of us, like, this guy got a lot of potential. This guy got a lot of potential. Man, you can't live all your life and just the last word is he had a lot of potential. Like, it shouldn't be the thing that people say about you. And I think for a lot of us, there are things that are holding us back. So we go into a new year, we say this year is going to be different, right? And we start a new whatever. We say this is going to be different, but we realize every new year we take ourselves there, right? And we take our old mindsets there, and we take our old habits there, and our not having the right discipline and systems there. And this challenge, what I feel like it helped the brothers to do, and I think the people who are watching this, if you're considering it, what it'll help you to do is kind of break out of some of those things that are holding you back. That when you feel like I'm making progress and it pulls you back, the challenge will help you to figure out how to move past the things that are limiting you from reaching what you should reach. So I want to encourage you. I went through it. I saw the stuff that happened. I heard the testimonies. And I can't recommend it enough. So go to mensbreakthroughchallenge.com. Don't delay. I know you probably think, I'll catch another one. Listen, this might be yours. So catch this one. Register before all the spots are gone. Go to mensbreakthroughchallenge.com. Mensbreakthroughchallenge.com.
Yeah, and you want to hurry up too. We only have limited spots, and that's the truth. We don't take everybody. We have quite a few guys who want to be a part of it. If I'm you, I want to act now. One of my favorite segments,
Kymone. Your favorite segment.
DJ Walk. What up, man? Go ahead.
What's good with you? What's
bubbling on the block, man?
So what is bubbling on the block? What is the hot topic in these barbershops and in the streets that us fellas are talking about right now? So, MyRon, does the name Jonathan Lindell Kirk, do you recognize that name in any way?
Man, you got me last week with the Ray West. Jonathan Lindell. Dang it. I don't know who that is.
Well, Jonathan Lindell Kirk is also known as Da Baby, the famous rapper from North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, Da Baby, right? And right now he is in some litigation problems because he put his hands on his baby mama's brother. He ran up on him in a bowling alley, and it just went down. So just on this whole thing of, do we need counseling? Yes, that brother has a lot of trauma. In 2019, he shot somebody in Walmart, shot him dead in Walmart. Yes, ran up on him, shot him. This brother has been through a lot of trauma. It's documented. It's countless videos of people just running up on this guy. And as a Black man in America, we deal with a lot of trauma on a daily basis. Either it's from the cops or our own brothers in the streets, man. We deal with a lot. So going out and talking to somebody is just right on lines to just getting your mental health together. You never know what happens, man, when you approach somebody. They approach Jesus. What did Peter do? He cut the brother's ear off. You know what I'm saying? Cut his ear off. Now listen. On the other side, listen. If I'm out with Dr. MyRon Edmonds, and if you run up on us crazy, I ain't gonna say I'm gonna cut you. But listen, you just can't run up on us all crazy like that. Listen, you don't know what type of day I'm going through. You don't know. Listen, you don't know. Listen, I'm saved, but God is still working on me, so you just can't be running up on brothers like that in these streets. You don't know what people's mental health is. You don't know where they are at as a person. You don't know the troubles that they go through every day. So if you are going through that trauma, that stress, go talk to somebody, And I'm saved, but try Jesus, don't try me. Like Toby said, because I might throw them hands on you, might throw these holy hands on you. So
bro, the baby. I didn't even hear about. Listen, that's why we gotta have.
That's why we gotta have
bubbling on the block, man. Because I didn't even. When did this happen?
This happened around 2 weeks ago. There was a lot of threats going back and forth on the internet. He saw him in public, ran up on him. And you know that whole thing happened. So now he's being sued for physical and psychological damage. So this brother might take a couple L's in the courtroom, lose a couple bands. But that just all comes with, man, getting that mental health together, you know, just being able to just deal with that stress and anxiety, you know. Probably he should have walked away. Maybe he shouldn't have. From the videos that I'm seeing, he swung first. So there was an opportunity out there for him to just, you know, walk away and just let things just kind of die down. But, you know, we never know what our brothers in the streets are going through, that stress and anxiety. You know, every day is just a pressure situation for some of these brothers out here, rich, poor, whatever. So you just can't be running up on people like that, because you never know where somebody's mental health is taking them for that day, man. So go talk to somebody, deal with that stress and that anxiety. If you're able to talk to a counselor, pastor, best friend, whatever, deal with your mental health, deal with your anxiety, deal with your stress in a healthy manner. So, you know, you don't got to put your hands on somebody because you don't know how to deal with your feelings and emotions.
Man, I might have to. I had a member one time who, you know, as I'm a pastor, so I have one of my members. They came to me, and they literally, I don't even know if I should be admitting this in public, but I'm here. Man, this guy came and gave me his gun, and he said, "Pastor, I need you to hold this for me." Yeah. He said, because if I have this on me, he is like, y'all may not see me again. Yo, I mean, I see that knife. I think I need to. I'm right around the corner from you, DJ Walk.
Go get that thing.
I need to go get that machete. All right. Well, listen. So Hinds, you know, the subject today is therapy overrated? Clearly, the social worker. Y'all don't know DJ Walk is a social worker by trade. DJ on the side, but I know that he's an advocate.
Brothers in the comments, is social work overrated? Before we get into it, like yes, no. What are y'all thoughts? Is people talk about it? And by the way, it's so much more. Like,
is therapy overrated? Not social work.
Sorry. What did you say? What did I say?
Social work.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's therapy overrated. It's therapy overrated. Thoughts? Put your thoughts in the comments, brothers.
Yeah. It's therapy. Let me read something real quick. I have a statistician on staff.
Is that why?
By the name of LD. LD is our statistician. That's Lillian Drew, the wife of Nate Drew, our resident therapist who works with our Winning Circle. But anyway, she sent me this. She said, because of structural racism and Black men's unique history in this country, their mental health and treatment are intimately tied to factors such as implicit bias on the part of medical providers, high poverty rates, and low access to quality psychological and psychiatric services. Compared with white people, for example, Black people are less likely to receive or want mental health services because of the overall distrust with the system. And alarmingly, another stat that was given to us was suicide is the third leading cause of death among African Americans 15 to 24. And African American people are 20% more likely to have serious psychological issues. I also saw something alarming about Black men and suicide, and that we actually are more likely to commit suicide than Black women. So I don't want to. I'm not here to disparage at all the notion that mental health is an issue in our community, but I just wonder, is it overrated, the therapy piece?
All right, let me just read a couple comments here. Michael says, definitely not very needed. Therapy gives you a professional assessment of your thoughts, characteristics, habits, and decisions. Ricardo says, I don't think therapy is overrated, but we as Blacks don't want the community to know that we need help.
Yeah, I think a lot of brothers get therapy in different ways, man. If you're in a barbershop talking to your brothers, talking to your barber about some issues that you're going through, that's a form of therapy. May not be as professional as sitting on somebody's couch, but you know, that definitely is a form of therapy. I'm getting a real bad echo. Let's see. That's definitely a form of therapy.
A form of it. I can hear all of the mental health professionals right now coming for your life, talking about that ain't therapy. Yeah. Like, you know, you got, and which they will. I mean, therapy is, by a professional. It's like, right. Just like, you almost would say a woman who does hair in her house. Is she a beautician? You know what I'm saying?
This is a good point you raised there, DJ Walk. Some of us feel, well, I talked to a friend and they heard me out. or I talked to this to my wife, and she listened to me, and then she gave me some advice. What's the difference between that and therapy then? Well, my barber, right? The barber shop. I talked to the men in the barber shop, and they heard me out, and they gave me some advice.
Not to get too deep into it, but one major difference is, let's say if you're struggling with some anxiety or stress, your wife or your barber cannot prescribe you a medication to deal with that.
Okay.
Or diagnose you.
Or properly properly diagnosed. You know, in the hood, oh, he just bipolar. He happy one day, not the next day. He bipolar. Everybody, listen. Let's stop saying that, guys. Let's stop saying that. True bipolarism, if somebody's on the downslide, they won't even get out the bed to use the bathroom. They won't even function on a daily basis. If I'm a little down one day and I'm up the next day, I'm just having an emotional slide. I'm not bipolar. So let's just stop that. But I just think that's one of the major differences is that seeing a professional, they could actually prescribe you medication to help with your emotional imbalance to kind of try to even you out. And I know that medications get a lot of bad raps in the Black community. You know, we've seen a whole lot of stuff about, you know, the COVID vaccination, and you know,
right.
We're being on that side. Plus, I know us as a community, we don't really have a lot of trust in the medical profession. Now, you know, we go all the way back to the early days. You know,
Tuskegee, man, the Tuskegee experiment, man.
Exactly. Yeah. So I understand. I understand completely. But it's kind of hard to say times have changed, because in a lot of ways times haven't changed.
Yeah,
you know, but it's always good to explore all your options, and sitting down with someone that can professionally diagnose you, that could professionally prescribe you medications. You know, that's always an option on the table to deal with your stress and anxiety.
That's good. Sounds and there's a question here. I'm gonna bring it up later, but it sounds like there are two realities, just based on what you said, MyRon, and what you're saying, DJ Walk. The reality is we need it as people of color, but the other reality is because of our history and how we have experienced the medical, just the field, we distrust therapy, and it's something we need because of the stuff that we've gone through. So it's almost as if what we need, we don't go get it because of the stuff that has happened to us that's caused us to need it. Makes sense?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll say this, and this is going to be an ongoing conversation on the Get Your Shift Together podcast, because we don't feel like this is a one-off conversation that, you know, we yes or no, you should get therapy, it's over, because there are a lot of this is a men's podcast primarily, and so there are brothers on here that are going through stuff. You feel some type of way. I know for me, stress is a big thing, and I think we as men, we've been socialized to handle stress by just pushing through stress, but we're dying sooner than everybody else. We're leading in all the, health risk factors and stuff. So clearly, we got to do something different about our health in general. I think I've set an appointment with the doctor the other day. Accountability. I'm checked with a brother this morning. Say, are you in therapy? You know, because I felt convicted, man, I need to get in therapy. But I will tell you this is my opinion. I do think therapy is overrated in 2022. I think it's overrated. Let me tell you what I mean by that. I think it's overrated. Yeah, no, I think as I explained, I think you'll know what I mean. I think it's overrated in this sense. It seems to be the go-to, intervention for everything now. Oh, he needs therapy. Oh, they need therapy. They need therapy. Like Antonio Brown, the situation that happened with him. Everybody is making a judgment about this guy's mental health. And nobody has diagnosed this guy. We don't know why he did what he did. I'm just saying it's the go-to thing. Ben Simmons. He needs to find a therapist. I think there are some things, obviously, that therapy helps with, but I don't think therapy solves all of our problems. That's what I'm saying. I think mental health should be looked at holistically. And I think mental health is a leg on the stool, but it's not a one-legged stool. I think there needs to be community. I think there needs to be, health. You take your health seriously, your physical health. All of these things, I think, affect our mental health, and just getting a therapist to me is not. I think I'm not saying we should. I'm saying yes, a therapist, but not only that, and don't overrate it. That's what I'm saying.
So I think
it's a
go ahead, DJ Wall. I'll go ahead.
Yeah, it's a holistic approach, very much so.
But you don't hear a lot of that. All you hearing is people talk about is just, and a lot of brothers are suspicious of that to me because they're already distrustful of it. So all you keep saying is go to the doctor, see. But I think we need to give them the whole picture on their health from mind, body, and spirit perspective.
Yeah, but I think the point that you're bringing out, I don't know if you're hearing this, is that Antonio Brown, we say he needs to go to a therapist, but he's not been diagnosed, right?
I'm saying we're trying to diagnose him.
My point is he needs to be diagnosed by someone, right? And it doesn't need to be us, folks who watch it on TV, but it is clear this man does have issues. Now, the solution to that may include therapy, but it also may include, as you mentioned, community. It may include other things. But the only way we might know some of these things is if we talk to someone who is a specialist to be able to say, okay, this is your problem. These are your solutions. The solution may not only be therapy, but in order to figure out what the solution is, a lot of us need to talk to somebody, right? To figure out, okay, this is what's going on inside of me that I can't figure out on my own, like going to the doctor. Okay, here's the solution. Go exercise, right? It's not just medicine. It's go exercise. Yeah. It's drink water. It's get among some good people. So the physical solution is similar to what you talk about for our mental health. But I think the gateway in terms of figuring out what the problem is going to talk to someone who is a specialist.
Yeah,
go ahead. I'm gonna play devil's advocate after Jay talks.
One thing I do not want to hear in 2022 is race being a barrier for you to go see your doctor or for you to go get help with your mental health. We are in 2022. You have the liberty to choose a gambit of wonderful, Black, beautiful professionals out there, doctors, physicians. We need to support our Black physicians and counselors in our community. If you feel that you can't trust the quote unquote, well, not quote unquote, the white man per se, you have the leisure to go out there and choose who you want to head up with your mental health and your physical health. So I don't want to really hear race being a barrier because you have the choice to go out there and choose who you want on your medical team.
That's fair.
MyRon, before you go to play devil's advocate, Thomas asked a question in here. He says, do you have a suggestion for professional therapists? I've had therapy before. That was good, but she was a white woman that didn't get the Black man perspective. I know you've talked, MyRon, about how people can even just find a therapist online. I don't know if you want to just touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, real quick, and it'll also be in the show notes. But if you go to psychologytoday.com, you can literally filter and curate, if you will, exactly the avatar of a therapist that you want. Black male, Christian, CBT. Do they use CBT method? Do they use another? Do you hypnosis? Whatever. You can do that. So psychologytoday.com. So this is what I'm saying when I say devil's advocate. And I'm not really trying to stir the pot just for the sake of trying to stir the pot, but I think this is a legitimate conversation because when I'm talking to a lot of brothers, I'm not talking to a lot of brothers. Most of the brothers I talk to do not believe personally in therapy. They are doing it because it has been suggested. They figure it's the right thing to do. But what I hear from a lot of brothers is this. It's the same thing I hear from the church argument. So follow me on this. We're in a culture now where a lot of people are hostile towards church, right? And why? Because they've gone to church and the church is trash. The pastor, he's about the money. He can't preach the word or she can't preach the word or whatever, And so people have made up their minds about church because they went to a bunch of churches and they've had a bad experience. Mm-hmm. I'm hearing a lot of guys say that they have gone to a therapist because their wife asked them to, or they've gone to a therapist because, maybe somebody told them they should, they got insurance, a job, or they just wanted the help. And they went there and they had a bad experience. And it's just like, I need help encouraging these guys to hang in. And not just one bad experience, but multiple bad experiences with therapists. And I will tell you, even though just because, and you all know this, just because somebody has a degree and just because somebody is a professional doesn't necessarily mean that they're good at what they're doing. And even though therapy is regulated, in some respects by the law, like I find I'm really disappointed. I'll just be honest. I'm really disappointed by some of the quote unquote professionals that are out there, some of the advice that they're given, I don't know, just maybe the way some of them present themselves. Not only do we need to go therapists, we need to help guys figure out how to find a good one. So that, you know, we don't have guys going there. They're already looking for these guys to fail, right? They're already expecting it not to be good. And then they get there and it seems, I don't know, I could be wrong on that, but that's what I'm hearing from a lot of brothers. They're like, man,
it sounds like there are two issues, right? Like, I'm already hesitant. So I go and this person doesn't jive with me. And I think there are two things. We could address two things. One, don't give up on therapy because of a bad experience or experiences. Right. But two, that's probably another show we need to do, helping you figure out how to find the therapist for you, like how to do that. Because I think for a lot of us, it's kind of like first name shows up in the thing. This is who my job tells me I should go to. And then when I go, I'm almost, as you said, looking for it to not work. That's one. So we probably shift that mindset.
The bias. Yeah.
Right? I'm already not okay.
Yeah.
You know, she didn't talk to me the right way. I'm out. But also, let me go like for someone that resonates with me so that my experience is better. I need to come with better expectations, but also do a better search and figuring out of who I should go to. So I think that's even a good follow-up topic, because I think as you talk about this, more men need it than are taking advantage of it.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
Some of the men who take advantage of it don't hang in there long enough to see the results because of
that's true. I always recommend to always kind of, if you can, go by referrals.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. That's good.
As much as possible.
That's good. That's good.
Don't just open up the white pages and scroll down and find the first therapy. Okay, I'll go to this person. Talk to your friends, read reviews, research those reviews. It's always good to go by a referral. You know, we do that in every area of our life.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Besides physical health and mental health, you know, you're just not going to walk into a barber shop and get a haircut. You know what I'm saying? You're going to go, hey, man, who got the nicest taper of the face? You know, we get referrals in every area of our life. You know, if I want my car fixed, I'm going to call MyRon. Hey, MyRon, what's a good mechanic? You know, so let's take that same approach with mental health and physical health. Find you a referral for a person that, you know, you may jive with. And, you know, I can't say it enough. You have the liberty to go and find a therapist that is like-minded as much as possible like you. So if you feel uncomfortable talking to a certain race, find you a Black therapist, find you an Indian therapist, find somebody who aligns with your thought ideas, because that's going to make your therapy that much better.
That's so good.
That's good. That's good. That's good. No, that's a really good point. I will say this. I still strongly believe that we have to open up, and we actually put out a document some time ago, Kymone, called the Mental Health Toolkit. And I think I want men to not women or anybody misunderstand me. What I'm saying is I think you need to start looking at your entire health picture as holistic, right? And obviously, to me, I'll say obviously because we're having this show and we're talking about it, therapy should be a part of it. And I think personally, every Black man should see a therapist just because he lives in America, especially. Yeah. And there's the unseen trauma of being a Black man in America, which you cannot even imagine how that impacts you. There's whole studies on that. Black Fatigue is one book that you can read on that, and others. But I'll say this: I just feel like we gotta help brothers. We gotta help brothers get faith. I think we gotta help brothers to be surrounded in community, right? It's like you go, like I know some folks, man, who are going to see therapists. I'm talking to somebody that they go to see a therapist, and I'm just like, but they don't have anybody to hold them accountable to the stuff that they're getting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, I just think that we gotta look at the picture holistically. And I think we have to sell it that way to men. And I think men will receive it better if they see it as a holistic strategy rather than the only shot. Like this is the silver bullet. If you just sit down with a therapist, because that's where the disappointment comes. No, this is a part of a process and a system that you have in place.
Yeah. I think
you got to work it. You got to work it.
Yeah. It sounds like therapy right?
Yes, absolutely.
Because think about this: if you have high blood pressure, you can take blood pressure pills, right, and it'll work. But good if you modify your diet, right?
There we go. Yes,
exercising, right?
Yeah,
proper sleep and release stress. All of that stuff works. And take the blood pressure medicine.
Right. And
the point is therapy and because if you're doing therapy and you're doing the other stuff, and some of that stuff we're gonna cover in other episodes, I mean, it's gonna help you your mental outlook and your physical outlook and just everything will work because you're working it.
All right, so I got a question I want to ask. I just want to ask y'all a question. Are y'all in therapy right now? If so, tell us, you know, how's the experience? You don't got to tell us all your business. I'll start first. I'm not seeing a therapist right now at the moment. I have been through 3 and I'm looking for another one. And I feel accountable to y'all today that by the time I come on this show next week, I will have found someone. And I'm looking for a referral too. So if DJ Walk, you in my area, if you got a referral, I'd love to take a referral. I appreciated that. That spoke to me. But let's go with you, Kymone. How about you?
Yeah, you know, I was in last year. It's gonna sound weird. My therapist had to pause therapy, so I reached out. It's funny because we were talking about this today. Kind of brought it up. I reached out today. I have to kind of like figure out where my therapist is because she's moved from that practice to another one. So, but yeah, this conversation has made me say, you know what? I need to go back to therapy.
Yeah, I'm loosely in therapy. I could say that. Just by being in the field for so long, I've made so many relationships with doctors, counselors, psychiatrists. So I have one friend that is a psych doctor that we have a very close relationship with, and I talk to her probably around like once a month. So you know, it's not officially laying on her couch, but you know, we connect once a month, and you know, we definitely hash out some issues because people who really know me know that I have some anxiety issues. You know, I have a lot of anxiety issues. Even right now, doing this is just a testimony because I have a speech impediment, and so when my anxiety is heightened, it's just like it's like gridlocked for me to talk. But through speech therapy, psych therapy, just bringing myself down, I've been able to do stuff like this. This is a miracle. Like 10 years ago, this would never happen. You know what I'm saying? But just through therapy and just working on things, you know, I've been able to do some public speaking and some trainings and things of that nature, and even this podcast right now. So I am a firm advocate on getting someone in your life, a mental health professional, to deal with stress and anxiety. I could scream it from the mountaintops, but even something as small as a speech impediment that has increased my anxiety by talking to someone has moved mountains for me. Job interviews, I was just locked up, but by going and talking to someone and just expressing my fears and my obstacles and my anxiety, I've been able to overcome it. So definitely talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Bro, we need that. We need that. We need the horns. We need the applause. You know, the applause that would have came in perfect. Yeah. Man, get yourself together, DJ Walk. Man, we got to get those noises in there. But man, that's good stuff. That was powerful right there.
Yeah,
I know we got to run.
But say something, Myron. I think sometimes we think, one, if I go to therapy, it means I'm weak, and I just want to say no. It means you're strong.
Deal with that. That's right.
Mean, you know, man, I'm going to therapy. Man, what's wrong with Myron? You know, or what's wrong with Kymone? What's wrong with? No, it means I want to make sure I'm the best. I'm a best self. So don't wait till you're crashing and burning to go to a therapist. Like,
gotta throw a monkey wrench in there, guys, because I know we're talking about.
I want to say that's a strong point that he made there, right there, because a lot of brothers feel weak if they go ask for help with anything, especially something that has to do with their mentals. But that's what Marshawn Lynch said. Take care of your mentals, take care of your chickens, and what was the other one? I can't remember.
Your body.
You take care of your body. Yeah, go ahead, DJ.
But real quick, you know, I know we're talking about therapy, finding mental health doctors. How about these brothers that don't got the resources, man? A lot of us have benefits and money to go find the resources. How about these brothers out here, man, that don't have the health insurance, man, that, you know, is on the corner hustling, anxiety every day, and they really want to talk to somebody, but they don't have the resources to talk to somebody. How about that? You know,
that's what our show researcher was bringing out. That's what one of the points they were saying is it's a health care issue. It's a lack of access to health care and to these services. I will say this though, you know this, DJ Walk. If you seek, you will find. And Cleveland, especially, there's a lot of public health agencies, nonprofits who offer these services. And honestly, man, I don't know if that's a total excuse. I know the access and where most they say the studies say that for the number one place that Black men go to for mental health issues is the emergency room. It's the emergency room. So, I mean, we're going to get help, and when it gets there, but we just don't know where to go. We don't know where to go, and so we need. Listen, we need more Black therapists. We need therapists in the church. We need access points. Maybe a therapist in a barbershop, near a barbershop. The access points have got to be in the hood where people can get to them. You know what I'm saying? Where the fish fry is there something? We gotta create spaces where this stuff can happen, and group therapy too. A lot of times we think therapy is only the one-on-one stuff, but sometimes some group stuff. What if brothers in there getting a cut? And you got a therapist in there, man, and they all chopping it up. Like,
you on to something, brother. You on to something, man.
When he said that, I was like, imagine a therapist who's a barber. Like, he's almost like you getting your cut, but you don't even like know, man. This is just I'm receiving.
That's a real good idea, man.
Hold on. Did we say that out loud? Because man, that's a business.
I know, man. That's hey, listen, hey, copyright that. What if you had a barbershop and all the barbers in there, man? We're licensed therapists.
Yeah. Oh man.
Woo! And we could put those all over the hood, man. Oh man.
Listen, if anybody watching this and you do this, please make sure you send us at least 10%.
Yeah.
Somebody gonna steal our idea. Anyway, hey man, this is.
I don't want to have to run up on you.
The baby is here. Hey, where you at, machete?
I don't want to run up on you.
MyRon, tell them about the challenge real quick before we leave, though.
Yo, man. Again, one of the things that the challenge does to augment what we're talking about is it gives you the holistic perspective. Really, like, there's no way you're gonna come to this challenge if you're not serious about growing in your life, right? And there's no way you're gonna leave this challenge without the tools necessary to know exactly what you need to do. And I'm telling you, you'll get all that in 3 days.
Yeah.
On my mama, on God, I promise you, because it's just simple principles that have been in front of us all this time. But it's not that I know more than you. It's just that we have just organized the material, the information, and we put the community together. Kymone, you and I both know this. We've said this statistic so many times before. You are 95% more likely to reach a goal, accomplish a thing, succeed in a thing, break an addiction if you commit to a group of people on a regular basis, on a singular focus on that subject, period. 95% more likely. And they say connection is the opposite of addiction, right? So I'm telling y'all, it's the community. And in those 3 days, I promise you, whatever it is that you're trying to break through, it's going to happen. It's going to happen if you lean in with us. So sign up now, right? Men's breakthroughchallenge.com. Get your spot and let's break through.
Good stuff. Good
show, guys.
All right, people. Keep the hood in prayer.
Keep the hood in prayer, y'all.
Much love to everybody, man. Y'all be good. Peace.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Get Your Shift Together Men's Podcast. For more information, please visit our website, menswinningscircle.com. That is, menswinningscircle.com. Let's win in the things that matter.